Howdy. Hello. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, give me 1 second here, guys. Let me set up the chat real quick so I can actually see it. You guys hear me okay? Gonna get a 1 in the chat if y'all can hear me. Um, okay. All right. So let's. Yeah, I wish I didn't know who this guy was either. But unfortunately, that's the only thing conservatives have. Uh, okay. Well, so we're gonna go over some Tim Pool stuff. But first, I don't know if you guys know, QCon was this weekend or this last weekend, and there's a few interesting videos from it. So I figure we should check those out. Uh, yeah. Do. Okay. Yeah, but just FYI, basically anytime conservatives find a laptop, uh, it apparently has child porn on it. But we'll get to this story. We'll start with this is QCon. So you can take a gander at what that is. It's just a couple videos, but I thought they were pretty funny. This is the Q convention. So, and then I thought this one was pretty funny. Watch how intent they are. This is praying medic. Listen to this guy. Oh, let me start it back up. Watch watch how intently they're listening. Look at them.
Drops when they first started coming out. You hinted that there would be Supreme Court appeals.
Imagine having a conference about Q drops. Like that's what they're talking about right now. Q spoke of Supreme Court legislation. Like, come on, man.
Of people in the government who now you think through what that means. That means Comey, Clapper, Brennan, all the department heads, Obama, anyone who has took an oath of office is in placeholder.
And I think that's pretty much it. As far as not too many videos from that. I don't. They probably didn't want to put too much out on social media, but so with the Hunter Biden laptop whole spiel, which there's no proof it's his laptop. He supposedly dropped it off at a computer shop and never picked it back up, which I didn't even know people even just dropped off computers at random shops anymore, especially somebody that high with, that much money. Uh, you know, and apparently, you think you would take it like to an Apple store or something like that. But anyway, so the story is that he dropped the laptop off, and this guy who's blind, who owns a computer shop, basically had it forever and somehow got in contact with Rudy Giuliani. But anyway, so now the story is with the Q people that there's 25,000 photos of him, or 25,000 pieces, or just whatever of him, doing unspeakable things with 10-year-old children. Because the same as with Wiener's laptop. Anytime they get a laptop in their possession, they hear about a laptop, they just immediately assume it's a child porn extravaganza. But here is Senator Ron Johnson. Uh, Instead of, dispelling the conspiracy on a national news network, he decides to feed into it. Him and Maria Bartiromo.
Winning futures, there is more to come, and there is further analysis of the subpoena's handwriting, and it suggests that the
Where are the pics, Dave? They don't exist. That's where they are. They're in their minds, as is the same with the Hillary indictments. They're in the same place the Hillary indictments are.
The subpoena was served by an FBI agent who his name is Joshua Wilson, and over the last 5 years, he has been working on child pornography issues. Connect the dots. If an FBI agent is working on child pornography issues for 5 years.
Connect the dots, guys. This guy worked on a child sex case, so therefore, if he's on this warrant, which he's not the only one on the warrant. There's several FBI agents on this subpoena, not warrant. But apparently he worked in the field one time, so now obviously the laptop is just full of CP.
Why is he subpoenaing the laptop of Hunter Biden? Is there a connection here? Should this suggest that there's a child pornography issue here on that laptop?
Now, this is where a sitting senator of the United States, who is not sent to Washington to push propaganda, should say, no, there's no evidence of that. But if some comes available, I will be the first to tell you. Let's see which way he goes with it.
Well, I think you just made the connection. Again, this is what the FBI, I think, has to come clean about. This isn't a standard investigation where, if the FBI doesn't indict somebody, that everything remains confidential. This is something that, as we were talking about, relates to national security.
She made the connection. Well, you made the connection. I'm the one with national security clearance, but you said some stuff, and who am I to refute it? Yet these fucking people, man.
Security. And if there's criminal activity involved that could be tied to Hunter Biden or his business associates, or even possibly tied back to other members of the Biden family, and as some of these emails indicate, that Joe Biden was fully aware of this. He was taking his 10% cut or requiring 50% from his family member's salary.
There's no evidence of that. That's completely speculation. Ron Johnson has sex with donkeys. I mean, that's just what I heard. I mean, there's nothing saying that it's not happening. So, I mean, the FBI needs to come out and make a statement. I just made the connection. I mean, it's clear he's a donkey fucker. I mean, come on. Oh,
this needs to be known before Americans go to the polls.
So was the FBI agent who served the subpoena investigating child pornography, Senator?
Well,
now she asks again. She follows it up. She asks him again. Let's see where he goes with it.
You just read the news report. I can't comment any further. I don't want to speculate other than to say that what
I don't want to speculate. I just don't want to say that someone's not a pedophile when there's not any evidence.
Said publicly before, our report uncovered so many troubling connections, so many things that need to be investigated, that I really think we're just scratching the.
Sorry to keep pausing it, but their report found no wrongdoing by Joe Biden. By the way, that's another hole in this story. A month ago, or not even a month ago, the Senate, the Republican Senate, finished up a report on the whole Joe Biden, Ukraine, Hunter, all that jazz, and they found no wrongdoing by Joe Biden. Rudy Giuliani apparently supposedly has had this laptop for a month. So you mean to tell me that Rudy Giuliani had a laptop with all this incriminating shit about Hunter, but he didn't give it to the Senate Intel Committee that was doing an investigation that would have definitely been finished by now, and they would have been able to come out and say, okay, here was on the laptop, here is the Senate Intel Committee giving you a report, and here's all this bad shit we found about Hunter and Joe and this and that. I mean, yeah, that makes total sense that he would, just wait and give it to the New York Post.
The surface. And yes, I've heard all kinds of things that I think will probably be revealed over the next few days. There's a treasure trove of emails and video and
The
pictures,
volume,
and
okay.
not only the purported computer of Hunter Biden, but now we've got the
How's
co-conspirator
that? Let me
Bevan
give me a
Mooney
yes if
that
that's
also
good. Just
started
let
to
me know,
reveal
guys.
information. I guess we're probably going to just find more information every day over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, so sitting senator just basically pushing Q propaganda, by addition by subtraction there. Oh, this is an old one. They there was like an issue with kids going into dryers, and so the Lilo Stitch movie, they changed it out and they put this in there instead. And the Q people lost their mind because it was a pizza box. That's an old one. But here, this chick works for that OAN, that One America News, that super propaganda-y news station that the president constantly retweets. But just saw for myself the behind-the-scenes look at the hashtag Hunter Biden hard drive. Drugs, underage obsessions, power deals. Druggy Hunter makes Anthony Weiner's down under selfie addiction look normal. If she saw this, I mean, where's the evidence? This was on the 15th. And this is a verified blue checkmark reporter just putting out shit like that. Tim Pool shit. I think that's it. For, you guys want to see what Tim Pool thinks of Alex Jones?
I don't think so. I think Alex Jones is no different from. Someone says, "Is Alex Jones 100% fake news?" No, I don't think so. I think Alex Jones is no different from any other.
Volume good now?
I
yes,
don't think Alex Jones
good.
makes things up. I just, I would put InfoWars and Huffington Post in a similar bracket. Huffington Post is left, InfoWars is right.
Huffington Post and InfoWars are the same, guys. Can you guys put in the chat the story where the Huffington Post said that Sandy Hook was fake? Can somebody link that to me? I don't think that ever happened.
Right. InfoWars has done a good job over the past several years of moving more into the mainstream, the more acceptable, and they've gotten away from a lot of the crazier conspiracy stuff. But so yeah, a lot of the stuff they put out now isn't fake news, if you want to say that. I guess someone says, "Is Alex Jones 100% fake news?"
I actually have a video that I did on Tim like a couple months ago, and I go into this is a longer clip, but we'll move on. But yeah, basically the story on Hunter is, now because he has a laptop, basically they say that it's 25, pictures of him torturing and raping children under the age of 10 on his laptop. Of course, this is not, here's the short version. There is no evidence that a laptop previously belonging to Hunter Biden contains child pornography. The allegations originated on an anonymous internet forum, 8chan. Where'd it go? That's a known source for online disinformation. I'll link this down below, but this is basically, memes are facts, just FYI. Okay, so, and then we got, before we move on to Tim, CNN did I don't know how many of you guys watched my last live stream, or the live stream before last, but CNN did a little piece on the Save the Children rally in LA, so I figured we'd watch that.
The fact that you guys are attacking us and making us look like we're crazy when we're just trying to save some fucking children pisses me off.
Yeah, Facebook culture. That's how it goes.
You might have seen people sharing the hashtag #SaveTheChildren or #SaveOurChildren over the past few months on social media, but much of this online activity has nothing to do with the respected and real Save the Children charity, which has been around for more than 100 years. Its name, Save the Children, has been hijacked by followers of the QAnon conspiracy theory.
They're so smart. That was like the is ludicrous and all the crazy stuff they do. Co-opting the Save the Children hashtag movement and just taking a phrase that just on its face just seems so harmless and is just the easiest way to get any church going old lady involved. Like, oh, we're saving the children. By the way, have you heard about adrenochrome? It's so clever. It's like the best marketing strategy ever.
A statement that charity has emphasized they have nothing to do with this movement.
If I were an alien that landed down from Mars, how would you explain to me what QAnon is?
So QAnon is
Yeah.
just a way for Trump supporters to look at what Trump is doing and say, this doesn't match what I want. I thought he was going to kick out literally every illegal immigrant. I thought he was going to lock her up.
That hits it right on the head. That is it is mental gymnastics to the highest point, where it's like, wait, I thought Hillary was going to get locked up, and I thought this was going to happen, and I thought, there was going to be no brown people left. And then, so obviously it has to turn into, oh, it's actually a secret deep state plan that involves Chrissy Teigen and Oprah somehow.
Stuff's not happening. Why? They view it as, okay, Trump won the election, but Trump's not in control of the government. Actually, the deep state is. Yeah, I'm supposed to be the dragon and the Q butterfly there, about to get eaten, hopefully.
Frederick Brennan built 8chan, now known as 8kun, the website that
Yeah, I think he just did the software. Paul, I don't think he ever owned. I think it was an Asian guy that actually owned the site, wasn't it? 4chan originally, and then Jim took it over. Jim Watkins
helped spread QAnon and Pizzagate. He left the site a few years ago and has disavowed it.
So Save the Children is sort of a
Yeah, this guy
soft
left.
front
He's
into
screwed.
QAnon.
He wasn't
Correct,
in.
Yes.
Because I've spoken to people who've organized Save the Children events, and they're adamant. They say, I'm not a QAnon believer.
That's ridiculous. I mean, just go to the event, right? And talk to people there and see what they believe in.
So you're a QAnon follower?
100%.
Got it.
Talk about it. Why aren't you talking about it?
I mean, just look at that. Scotty just screams QAnon, like just the hat, everything, and just everything about him is just Q all the way. I don't know what it is with musicians and QAnon, but
Why are we not talking about all
it's
the
like
kids that are going missing? Why?
I'm just
That
waiting
makes
for
me
now.
question
That's
you.
what I call music QAnon edition. It's coming. I know
Scotty
it
the
is.
Kid, a singer and activist, has been organizing these protests in Hollywood. Much like how they've co-opted the name Save the Children, they have also seized on and are distracting from the very real and
Imagine you went to one of these rallies and you weren't into QAnon. Like, I'm sure there's got to be a few people. Like, they show up and they're just like, oh shit, adrenochrome. Wait, what the fuck did Tom Hanks do? Just like
serious issue.
they're
of
like,
missing
what's
and
going on
exploited
here? I don't
children.
know.
Much of their
Martha, we might
focus
be in the
instead
wrong
is
place.
on conspiracy theories about Hollywood stars and Democrats.
Do you follow QAnon? The FBI says it's a dangerous.
Oh, I'd
conspiracy
totally
theory.
go for a laugh.
No, I don't follow QAnon. I follow the missing children. I have a child right now in Ohio that my team is saving. That's what I want to talk about. Not a
You
conspiracy.
posted about
There's
Q.
no-
You posted
Right
about
behind
QAnon
you, sir.
yesterday, right?
Oh,
On your
yeah.
Instagram story?
According to latest drop, John Podesta is going to be arrested on Saturday. Huh. That kind of sounds like he follows Q. I don't know what what's the spin on the JFK thing. I haven't really been on QAnon Twitter lately. I've been busy the last couple days. But they didn't even have a rally in Dallas for JFK Jr.'s comeback. So I haven't seen the spin yet.
So your mom watches CNN?
Yes.
So if your mom watches CNN, she's probably seen people like me on TV saying Pizzagate's a conspiracy theory. You don't believe it's a conspiracy theory?
No, it's definitely not. Pizza is a code word for child pornography. Cheese pizza, child pornography.
They believe that. They believe Hillary.
Yeah, I mean, cheese pizza, child porn, chicken pasta, whatever.
Clinton is a pedophile. They believe almost every high Democrat is a pedophile. Podesta, all of them. It's crazy.
Don't forget 3 Republicans. I feel like I know this guy. I don't know why.
So you guys just want me to explain everything today, huh? Dude, it's all suspicion. That's suspicion.
How do you know that Tom Hanks says
How do you
anything
not
different?
know? You're
Proving it
reporting a
negative.
non-fact.
How are they saving the children? Who asked? Oh, Dave. Dave, they're not saving the children. They just it's all political. It's political propaganda is what it is. It is a way for Trump supporters to play up in their head a way and a reason that voting for Donald Trump wasn't actually the wrong move. Like, he's actually getting the stuff done that they wanted him to get done, but just in secret. And it's also, they can shit on Democrats in the process. You know, it's just, they're not saving the children. Actually, they're harming any organization that is actually trying to save the children.
Because
They're doing the exact
information,
opposite
you're
of
saying
the
it's a fact that they're not.
mission
But
statement.
neither do you.
We're in an impasse then, because we're reporting literally the same thing.
But neither do you. But you have him on your sign. You're calling him a pedophile.
Yes.
But you don't know that for a
How
fact.
did they get to that position of power?
Save the children is a good message. Everyone wants to save the children.
Well, usually they start off at a small company and/or at an alderman position, run for a higher office, win that office, and then go for another office. And somewhere along the way, they sell their soul. That's usually how they get into their position, good sir. I don't think it involves any Satan rituals or
So they were
blood
putting
sacrifice.
this veneer of legitimacy
Then again, what do I know?
on the Q stuff and the idea that there's a deep state cabal. Going online and doing these kind of performative demonstrations where your real target is political, not any actual abuse. You know, you're not helping any child by doing that.
Children going missing, those
No,
numbers,
absolutely
they're out
not.
there. They're legit. I guess the
Yeah, no
disconnect
problem.
that I see, and I think maybe your mom might agree with me, she's watching this on CNN, is that, you know, this is a real problem, but then there's all this stuff online that seems, as your mom might say, a bit crazy.
Well, what we're saying is crazy is the Satanists who are hurting children, not the people who are trying to expose it and save us.
Such a normal looking lady and just, you know, so super pilled. All right. Okay. So now we get into how many of you guys have ever watched a how many of you guys have ever watched a Tim Pool segment? One for yes, 0 for no. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, anyway, Tim Pool is basically, if you have any right-wing relatives or pretty much anybody that is, you know, a Trump conservative around you, I would almost guarantee you they get a majority of their talking points from Tim Pool. He is by far the fastest growing voice on the right. He claims to be a disaffected liberal, but he's just not. He's a grifter to the highest order. He's king grifter. He gets over 110 million views on his YouTube channel a month. He has Timcast is one channel with 1 million subs. He has, what's the other one? Of course it doesn't. Oh, I can just go to the. Really? And then he has.
As of right.
No, not gonna talk. Then he had. Oh, that
For
is.
those that aren't familiar.
Yeah, it's that one. This one's
As
gained
of right now,
160,000 subscribers in 2 days. It's just crazy the reach he has. These are some of his thumbnails. Catching COVID has boosted Trump. Trump as new poll has him beating Biden. There's no poll that says that. Media sparks panic as sources reporting Trump having trouble breathing. CNN anchor, he loves to talk about the Civil War for some reason. But yeah, he just he just lies so much. And every segment is basically the same for the most part, but he finds a headline, he rambles, he tells like 5 or 6 misleading things, and then that's it. And they get 300,000 views each, 400,000, 500,000 views each. And I almost would guarantee it. I see a lot of zeros. So I almost guarantee it if you have right-wing relatives, they're getting their talking points from Tim Pool. So I want to go through a couple segments and just show you how grifty this grift is and kind of call it out. I've actually said one of the reasons I started making content is so I can get big enough so I can actually debate Tim Pool one day. But until then, I'm gonna have to settle for talking to you guys via live stream while going over his content. So, without further ado, on here, and when you put up a YouTube video, you can put tags in the in a little like description. You don't see it on screen, but like I have like a data thing. Here's the tags for his video that he put in himself. SJWs, feminism, feminist, social justice warrior. Twice. Oh, social justice warriors, yeah. Like that's what we're dealing with here. But this is about the Ilhan Omar Project Veritas voting scandal.
Holding mail-in ballots or absentee ballots, claiming that he's getting paid to collect them. The left, of course, says, well, there's no real evidence of wrongdoing because a court overturned this rule allowing ballot harvesting.
Really?
Motherfucker. Don't panic. Get centered.
Okay.
Speed up.
Harvesting. Yeah, ballot harvesting definitely feels like cheating, especially when...
Except it's legal. Ballot harvesting in Minnesota is 100% legal. They've now changed the law where you can only pick up 3 ballots at the time. But at the time of this, when this story broke, because they filmed it over the summer and they released it like a month ago. When this story broke, ballot harvesting was 100% legal.
When they do it right before an election. But Project Veritas did not stop there, publishing video actually showing...
By the way, if you don't know much about Project Veritas, there's a really good YouTuber named Timba on Toast. He did like a three-part series about Project Veritas. Really, really good. Basically, they lie and deceive and deceptively edit every one of their projects. Every single one. Not even kidding. Literally every one.
Someone exchange cash for an absentee application. At least, I believe it was an absentee application. The police are involved. An investigation is underway, and I'm going to show you another story from New York. There is no question about this. Anyone demanding universal mail-in voting is cheating in the election, hands down.
What does that even mean? What anybody that wants to have universal mail-in voting, at the time when that was being discussed, when that was a talking point, we didn't know exactly how COVID was going to go. Even though now it seems like it's getting a little bit better. I mean, it's actually getting a little bit worse. In the spring, it seemed more like that might be a good idea. And mail fraud, as far as voting, is infinitesimal. You're more likely to get struck by lightning than have mail fraud. But let's continue. I'll go back over a couple of his lies here in a second.
Because it's not just these stories. It is an endless stream of just mistakes, impropriety, whatever you want to call it. Take a look at this story from Gothamist. Brooklyn voters receive absentee ballot envelopes with wrong voter name and addresses. What is this? The system's completely broken. How many?
Because a few people got the wrong mail, the whole system's broken. We live in a country with 330 million people, but a few people got the wrong ballot, which in order to do a mail-in ballot, they have to send it to you, and then you have to fill it out, and then you can scan it, or you can have it tracked, or you can drop it off. But if you get a wrong ballot, you can just request another one. You just have to go through a process. People getting a wrong, it's not even it's not even actual ballot. It's like a registration for a ballot, and I mean that is very easily correctable. That's not fraud in any way. That is a mistake in addresses.
How many stories do I have to go over where like mail-in ballots don't work and it's ignored? And when Project Veritas comes out, what do we get? We get stories like this. Look at this, Fox 9, KMSP. They're not the only one. They're just the one that I chose, where they say evidence is scant. The dude's literally.
Now remember, he knows about Fox 9 in the cities. This is the Twin Cities Fox 9. This is where he got the story from originally. That'll
Published 2 videos showing people bragging about getting paid to take blank absentee ballots. Okay, I gotta clarify. Taking absentee ballots. Someone later says, I saw them, they were blank. They even say in the latest video from Veritas, they're gonna fill it out for you. And what are we getting here? They say, one problem, the hard evidence of cash in exchange for votes was lacking. This story was apparently published 9 hours ago, at least what the website says. But it was last night that Project Veritas released the video that Donald Trump himself tweeted out, where you've got someone saying, now take this money for your pocket change. Veritas says, never seen before, cash for ballot exchange caught on camera. It's amazing. So did this local news outlet just not have Google, I guess? Apparently so. Or maybe they're lying to us on purpose. I don't know. But when Donald Trump says things like rigged election, when Donald Trump says things like there's going to be mass voter fraud, and then they come out and claim there's no evidence for anything like this, I have to wonder what their true intent is. No, it seems like, I'm sorry, they're cheating. That's the only way I can explain it. But let's start with what's going on with the Minneapolis police, and then I'll show you the latest update from Project Veritas. They say, Fox News, Minneapolis police investigating ballot harvesting claims amid allegations surrounding Omar. Ilhan Omar responded by mocking President Trump over a report detailing his taxes. You know?
Okay, that's enough. So, basically the claim, this was on, I believe the September 29th. So that this came out on the 28th. So the claim is that Ilhan Omar had somebody going around accepting cash for ballots or paying people for their vote. Except that's not what happened at all. Here's the exact same station, Fox 9. Okay. Project Veritas hired a guy named Omar Jamal to basically create a fake organization. Like Somali Watch or something like that. They created it a month before they did this sting operation. This is the guy in the video. What Project Veritas did is they took 2 videos, one of him talking about the campaign and talking about what he was doing, and they edited that together with another video where he says it's all about the money, trying to imply that, obviously that he was, trading, votes for cash. And the video he's talking about where they exchange money, that was the Omar Jamal guy giving somebody money for, let me see if I can find it. Index. This is 2 sources tell Fox 9 investigators that the man is a relative of Omar. The guy handing the money is this guy Omar Jamal that Project Veritas hired. The guy he's handing it to is a relative of his. So basically, what they did is they had a ballot, they set this up, and they made it look like the guy's handing him some money in exchange for the ballot. And it had nothing to do, they don't show the guy's face or anything. This guy was the person in question. And the thing is that Omar Jamal, the person working for Project Veritas, couldn't find anybody on Ilhan Omar's actual campaign. So he got this guy who was working on somebody else's campaign, and he tried to pay him $10,000 to say he was harvesting ballots for Ilhan Omar. So this story has been completely debunked. And this is on October 6th. So instead of Tim just saying, okay, you know, maybe there wasn't much validity to this story. Guy uploads 5 segments a day. And oh, look, nothing. Oh, no corrections, nothing. Oh, it's literally. Oh, and the guy, Omar Jamal, the Project Veritas guy, he backtracked on his statements about cash for ballots. He said, you know, he clarified his statements. This happened on October 1st. 2 days after Tim uploaded this video. But yet, no correction. And from day one, from hour one, this was obviously shady because it was just a bunch of, if you haven't seen the video, it's like a bunch of mismatched, edited together clips. Like anybody with a base level of editing could tell there was something off, especially a YouTuber with 3 million subscribers and a team, I'm assuming, would be able to tell this was a little bit fishy. But instead, Tim would just much rather push blatant propaganda.
This, I really, I'm not a fan of Ilhan Omar, and I would say that I've had complaints about her in the past, and she seems to be, you know, at the very least, unethical in her.
Unethical, and in what? In what, Tim? The fact that she's brown? Is that the unethical part? Can you please, the lady, you mean the lady that takes absolutely no corporate PAC money? That lady? She's the I mean, as far as Washington goes, I think Ilhan Omar is about one of the last ones whose ethics we need to question.
Now I'm just getting angrier and angrier because we literally see these videos and she's just laughing in our faces. It really does feel like she's scamming the American people. The Minneapolis Police Department is investigating claims by right-wing activist group Project Veritas that.
Yeah, okay, watch this. Minneapolis police looking into Ilhan Omar ballot harvesting scandal. Plot helping. That's on the 29th. Police say there's no evidence in the Ilhan Omar voter fraud scandal. I can't find the damn thing. All right, whatever.
CDC provided
basically the next day they came out and said that there was no issue.
Individuals tied to Rep. Ilhan Omar engaged in illegal ballot harvesting before the election. The Minneapolis Police Department is aware of the allegations of vote harvesting. We are in the process of looking into the validity of those statements. The department stated.
Basically, this was the same day it came out. So the day before is when they you know, had to acknowledge the claims because they came out with this. And they said we were going to look, they were going to look into it. And then the next day, the state attorney who was appointed by Trump came out and said, there's no validity to these claims. We're no longer looking into it.
Statement read on Monday. No further information is available at this time on this. Project Veritas's latest video lit up social media as it came just weeks before a presidential election that is expected to see a surge in absentee or mail-in voting. In Minnesota, the issue has come under judicial scrutiny.
This is his entire content, by the way. Like, He just sits here and he reads an article and then rants about how he hates women or something.
As Republicans and Democrats battled over a measure that would limit the number of ballots a third party could hold for others. According to the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, the state Supreme Court recently allowed voting to proceed without a 3-person limit on the number of ballots any one individual can collect. President
Correct.
Trump has already
So
called
everything
on the
was
Justice
legal.
Department to investigate the claims, which include allegations of cash for a cash for ballot scheme. This is amazing. Let me tell you what's going on. And I'm gonna use this source that's kind of dragging Veritas. They're defending.
By dragging, he means reporting the facts as they know them at the time. That's dragging Project Veritas.
These videos and these individuals by claiming not actually illegal. They say historically in Minnesota, there has been a 3-person limit for bringing in other people's ballots. But in July, a district court ruling invalidated that limitation. The Minnesota Supreme Court reversed the ruling in September, but that was after the primary on August 11th. The video is buttressed by an interview with a controversial community activist, Omar Jamal. Jamal speculated without evidence that the campaign of Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was behind the ballot harvesting. I love that he speculated without evidence. The dude's literally on camera like, here's money, give me your ballot, fill it out. And then it's speculation that he's saying Ilhan Omar's involved.
Now this is how stupid Tim is. Omar Jamal is the guy that was hired by Project Veritas. He basically created this fake organization, and then in the video of Project Veritas's, they sit down with him and they're like, this is Omar Jamal, he's with Somali Watch, you know, an organization that they created in August to film in September. The guy in the video that Tim is talking about is this guy, Liban Osman. So Tim, Mr. I do 16 hours of research a day, doesn't even realize that this is the guy in the video and that Omar Jamal is the guy with Project Veritas. That's why it is speculation without evidence. Because one, this guy worked for his brother's campaign, not Ilhan Omar's. Never worked for him. And that Omar Jamal guy offered him $10,000 to say he worked for Ilhan Omar. So I don't even think Tim read the article before or looked into the story at all before he did this segment that got hundreds of thousands of views. Because he doesn't even know who is who. Apparently all brown people are just the same, I guess.
Okay. Why did they get rid of the 3-person limit? Why are they allowing anyone to go out and just start collecting ballots? That is insane. It's cheating, man. They did it just before.
It's legal. They do it for old people and like sick people who can't get out. And it is, I like, honestly, if I had to choose, I probably think maybe we shouldn't do that. But as far as like there's some big giant scandal, there's absolutely no evidence for that.
Before the primary, they're doing it just before one of the most important elections. It is straight up cheating. There is no other reason. Look, what they're basically saying is, you can
Except
go around
old people and,
soliciting
you know,
ballots from
pandemics
people.
and stuff.
Yeah, straight up. Did you vote? And then when a lot of people are probably going to be like, don't know, don't care. Well, vote for this person. Do it right now. And then what happens?
Tim has absolutely no idea how ballot harvesting works. You pick up somebody's ballot. Somebody fills out a ballot and you pick it up for them. You can bring them one, I suppose, too, but it's not like you're not like walking up to somebody like you work at a carnival or something like, hey, bud, did you vote yet? Can I get you to sign here? Here's $100. Like, that is not how it works at all. 300,000 views. See what the top comment is. The Democrats definitely did cheat in 2016. They're just really bad at it. 903 likes. Yeah. All right, you get a downvote, sir.
When you get someone like this being like, I'll tell you what, here's some pocket change. Go grab yourself some lunch. Oh, and by the way, did you fill out your vote? That seems to be what's going to happen. Seems to be what Project Veritas caught on
That's
camera.
not what's going to happen.
This election seems rigged, and I'm really worried what happens. But I have to.
So next time you wonder, man, why does Uncle Bill just think everything's rigged? Or why does Cousin Tommy just, man, I mean, where are they getting this voter fraud narrative from? I don't get it. Yeah, right here. If you were to watch this segment just, on its own and not have any of this information, you would think Ilhan Omar is some super corrupt evil genius that's got some giant ring of people out there selling ballots for $200.
To admit, though, part of me feels like no matter what happens, nothing's going to happen, right? Like,
Oh,
Joe
this
Biden's
guy
gonna
claims
win.
to be a liberal,
There's going
by
to be
the
all
way.
these videos popping up. There's going to be tons of evidence of voter fraud or something. No one's going to care. They're going to be like, Biden's president. Congratulations.
Yeah, and half
I
of
got to
them
be
would be
honest, though,
from
I
you.
thought they were going to cheat in 2016, and they didn't. So we'll see how things play out.
Oh, I guess that's
So
right,
here's a
guys.
quote.
Comment.
This is totally illegal, Trump said Sunday, linking to an article on the issue.
100%
Hope that
legal.
The U.S. attorney in Minnesota has this and
She
other
does.
of her many misdeeds under serious review. If not, why not? We will win Minnesota because of her.
This is not illegal.
And law enforcement saved Minneapolis and Iron O Range. Omar responded on Monday by mocking Trump over a New York Times
I
report
retweeted this. This is
detailing
pretty funny.
how in 2016 he paid $750 in income taxes. That's a lie. That's crazy.
That's not a
man.
lie.
The lie travels so far. Did you see my video yesterday for my main channel? If you actually read the New York Times story, they straight up say that Trump paid $5.2 million in 2016 and 17. In 2016, he paid $1 million. They straight up say he paid $1 million. His tax liability was $750 because of his losses. That means if you take the system at face value, Trump lost a bunch of money and said, take the extra money anyway, apply it to future debts or liabilities. But what do they say? The New York Times.
No, that's not what happened. He paid money in 2016 on his income taxes. He did pay other taxes. There's other taxes than just your income taxes. But as far as 2017, the first year he was in the office, income taxes, he paid $750.
Leads the article with
Per the
$750.
New York
and now
Times.
everyone just repeats it, even though it's not true. If you, it's all
The
all
fucking
dependent upon
balls
framing,
on
but
this
there
guy
is
to
no
say some
framing
shit
in which
like
Trump
that.
only paid $750. That's just not factually correct. You can argue Trump only owed $750, but it is a fact he paid millions.
Damn it.
You
Yeah. What? He paid millions, but he owes $750. Yeah. What was it? Paul just. Yeah. Paul in the chat just brought. If you want to watch how bad Tim is at debating and just with anybody like of his ilk on YouTube, watch his debate with David Pakman and just watch like the kid gloves that Pakman handles him with, like almost like Tim is like a child and he's like scolding a child, because David is just he's generally, it seems like anyway, just like a nice guy, and Tim is just like, I don't know. He literally at one point says, as an Asian man, as a half Asian man, I hate identity politics. And David's like, wait, isn't that identity politics, Tim? And he's like, oh, well, yeah. It's very funny. You should watch
I can't believe this is. It's just all fake news, man. Now here's where Fox News starts dragging Veritas. They say Project Veritas, a controversial group that has produced a number of misleading videos, claims that a local community
Every
leader,
single
Omar
one.
Jamal, blew the whistle on the Minnesota congresswoman's alleged corruption. It's an open secret, he reportedly said. She, Omar, will do anything she can do to get elected, and she has hundreds of people on the streets doing that. How is that speculation if he's the one doing it?
Again, he mixes up the names. Again, he thinks that one guy is the other guy. Journalism, folks. Big J journalism.
The investigation purports to show a ballot harvester claiming that he received money to obtain ballots. It also highlights an alleged harvester who boasts about the number of ballots he's collecting for a local official. Project Veritas also claims to have spoken with a former campaign worker who indicated that Omar's team paid voters for ballots. According to Newsweek, Omar's senior communication director, Jeremy Slevin, blasted the investigation as an attempt to delegitimize the election. This is so insane. Quote, the amount of truth to this story is equal to the amount Donald Trump paid in taxes. of 10 out of the last 15 years, 0. And amplifying
That
a
was a pretty good
coordinated
burn.
right-wing campaign to delegitimize a free and fair election this fall.
There's also clear evidence that the Trump campaign coordinated with Project Veritas. The head of the Trump campaign for Minnesota is this guy Mike Lindell, who's the My Pillow guy. He's our celebrity in Minnesota. Our bad on that one. We gave you the My Pillow guy, but he's the head of the Trump campaign, and he was like teasing for weeks that Project Veritas had like this super secret bombshell. You can tell from like just communications and everything that the Trump campaign definitely knew about this, and they were supposed to release it a week later, but they decided to release it the same day as the Trump tax stuff, to try to draw away from it.
Undermines our democracy. They're straight up cheating, man. Here's the actual story from Project Veritas.
They didn't do a single thing wrong. Not one thing was illegal. You can't even get the names right.
They say, caught in the act. Ballot harvester on camera exchanging cash for general election ballot. She's the one who came up with all this. We are taking the money and we'll vote for you. We don't care illegal. So there's a source Veritas has straight up saying that Ilhan Omar's the one who did it. Now here's the crazy thing. According to some local journalists, the FBI knew about this for quite some time. Yet the FBI director, Wray, said that there was no evidence of voter fraud. So what's really...
Yeah, because nothing like a guy handing a piece of paper and $100 bill to another guy, and that's it. Here's stranger. And then, of course, all this was debunked a week later. Tim never says a thing about it, and he'll probably do another segment on Ilhan Omar. I think you get the idea on this one. It's complete horseshit. So we'll move on. Now, here we go. What's a propagandist without spreading some COVID horseshit? So let's roll with that.
That 6% of COVID deaths are...
If you
Fuck you and your ads, Tim Pool.
Return your ballot today. It's easy.
Uh-oh.
Follow all
Google's
the
listening.
instructions.
Solely COVID, and
Google's
94%
listening,
of
y'all.
deaths include comorbidities, some 2 or 3 comorbidities. The weird thing about it now is that...
So crazy that people that die from COVID also sometimes have other issues. Or mostly do. Imagine that. People in bad health die more from a disease.
Twitter is actually censoring people for bringing this up, slightly framed incorrectly, I kid you not. So the first thing I want to
By slightly framed incorrectly, he means lying. He means that they're lying about it.
show you is the official source. I got several from the Atlanta, the Atlanta Journal-Courier. CDC, 94% of coronavirus-related deaths have underlying medical conditions. We've known this. We've known about, the bulk of people dying having underlying medical conditions, comorbidities, for quite some time. Now we have the official
Correct.
number. This shouldn't be surprising to anybody. But for some reason, the narrative machine, social media, will ban you if you say this incorrectly. So perhaps this video, won't actually see the light of day. But
that's another thing he does all the time. He's always like, I'm going to get censored, so please like and share. And it's like, dude, you have 3 million subs. You get 110 million views a month. You're not in any fucking way being censored. But I would maybe let somebody who, wasn't a journalist supposedly framing this story like this. Oh, why are some people allowed to share it, and why are that's just what it says. Like, he doesn't understand the bullshit framing that people are putting around this to push a coronavirus is fake narrative. Like he doesn't understand that framing. Like, he's that fucking just dense. Like, the level of playing dumb is just crazy.
I'll do my best. AJC says only 6% of coronavirus-related deaths in the U.S. have COVID-19 listed as the only cause of death, according to the Atlanta-based Center for Disease Control.
So Trump has hypertension. If Trump would have died, he would have died of COVID, but he also would have had hypertension listed. Like, fucking
prevention.
man.
According to the CDC, this we know. They say, on top of underlying conditions in coronavirus-related deaths include respiratory failure, vascular and unspecified dementia, heart failure, renal failure, and intentional and unintentional injury. Okay, wait. Hold on a minute. Intentional injury? What? You mean somebody died because they got attacked and they had COVID at the time, so it was a COVID death? Yep.
No, absolutely fucking not. No, that is not what that means at all. Somebody got attacked and then they labeled it COVID. No, that is not what that means at all. Yeah, let's look. Top comment with 254 likes. Gee, it's almost like the virus was purposely inflated for political gain or something. This is where it comes from, folks. You can't fight back if you don't know your enemy.
Intentional
or
injury?
some
You mean
shit like
somebody
that.
like fell down the stairs, but they had COVID, so they called it a COVID death?
No,
Yep.
no, you fucking
Well,
horrible,
what percentage of the
horrible propagandist. That is not what that means.
COVID deaths are people falling downstairs?
0.
Yeah, I'm being hyperbolic, but like,
Yes.
we've heard the stories. We've seen the interviews. This is true. There are people who have died straight up of being like on a motorcycle crash, and they're like, oh, that COVID death.
Please, if someone could find me where someone died in a motorcycle crash and they listed the cause of death as COVID. Not that the person had COVID-19, but that the cause of death was COVID. That is such a fucking blatant lie for Mr. disaffected liberal Tim Pool. Like, you know, you still see this one all the time. This only 6% of people actually died from COVID. I see that one all the time, especially on TikTok. It's still big on there. And how anybody can who watches any amount of keeps up with current events at all could read anything about that situation and not walk away understanding that, oh, it just means that obviously people with more health issues are more likely to die, and they usually have other, underlying condition, comorbidities, all that.
I can't believe it. But
Not,
they're actually
it's not,
reporting this. Well, here's what
only
ends up happening.
6% of people died.
Let me show you the CNN story first. It's funny. Twitter removes QAnon supporters' false claim about coronavirus death stats that Trump had retweeted. Really? Here's what CNN says. Twitter on Sunday took down a tweet containing a false claim about COVID death stats that was made by a supporter of the baseless QAnon conspiracy theory.
Why do you put a little extra on baseless? Does he think there's a basis to it? Yeah, people, QAnon people lying about a deadly pandemic is not a good thing, Tim.
Post that Trump had retweeted.
Yeah, I think
the day.
Tim's low key
The
Q.
tweet, which has been replaced
Yeah,
with a
what do
message
y'all
saying,
think? I
"This
think
tweet
he
is no
might be
longer
low key
available because
Q.
it violated the rules." From Mel Q, copied from someone else's Facebook post, claimed the CDC had quietly updated its numbers to admit that only 6% of people listed as COVID deaths actually died from COVID, since the other 94% had 2 to 3 other serious illnesses. That's not what the CDC said. Hey, wait, what? Didn't I just read the AJC showing us that's literally what they said? They said as of Sunday.
They also had, the CDC also had a explanation that went with it saying, this doesn't mean that, these people would have died anyway, basically explaining the logic behind it and what it actually meant. They didn't just say, oh, well, actually, only 6% of these people would have died from COVID. The rest died from falling down stairs and motorcycle accidents. Fucking guy.
4 p.m. Eastern. Twitter had not removed a second tweet, also retweeted by the president on Sunday, that spread the same false claim. The second tweet by Trump campaign advisor Jenna Ellis linked to an article on the right-wing website Gateway Pundit that was based on the QAnon supporter's tweet. CNN has reached out to the White House for comment on Trump's tweets.
Imagine making an article based off a QAnon supporter's tweet.
The CDC's latest regular update to a public stats page on the pandemic. There was nothing especially quiet about it. That's an opinion. Said that for 6% of the deaths included in the stats, COVID-19 was the only cause mentioned on the deceased person's death certificate. That is not at all the same with saying that only 6% were.
What, because they didn't put it on fucking Addison Rae's TikTok? They were quiet about it? They released that statement just like they release all statements. They weren't quiet about it. It wasn't secret.
Reported actually died from COVID. It simply means that the other 94% were listed as having at least one additional factor contributing to their death. Talk about arguing semantics, right? For example, the other 94% includes people whose death certificate listed both COVID and obesity, both COVID and diabetes, both COVID and heart disease, among other conditions.
Correct.
Isn't that what they said? People can live with these conditions for years, but if they get infected with COVID, and they could die quickly. The fact that they also had underlying conditions does not mean that COVID was not.
See, it's just it's the plain dumb for me. Aren't they basically saying the same thing? As if he doesn't know that QAnon people are out there calling the virus a hoax and then using the 6% thing to be like, see, this isn't deadly because only 6% of people died. I mean, it's just not possible at all that he does not understand that.
A major reason.
This is what grifting looks like.
The CDC did not say that. That's CNN injecting their opinion and their contextual analysis into what the CDC meant. That's why I bring up the AJC.
No, they did say that.
Because they specifically said just this. According to the CDC, 94% of COVID-related deaths had other underlying.
Notice he doesn't use the CDC release.
Medical conditions called comorbidities. 6% listed only COVID as the cause of death. End of story. If CNN wants to do a contextual analysis, they're free to do so, but to act like they're correct and the other person is wrong is fake news. I'm just showing you what AJC said. If that's too much for YouTube, by all means, take it down. Here's a story from the Gateway Pundit. CNN and Twitter target President Trump and the Gateway Pundit.
Imagine using the Gateway Pundit as a source. Daily Mail and the Gateway Pundit. Like, how you could call yourself a journalist and use those as sources? I'm not a journalist, but I would never use the Gateway Pundit as a source unless it was to say, hey, look what this fucking rag is doing.
Won't allow us to share the actual COVID-19 numbers from CDC website that don't fit their narrative. They say last night we posted an article about COVID-19. Shock report. This week, CDC quietly updated COVID-19 numbers. Only 9,210 Americans died from COVID alone.
My goal is to debate Tim Pool one day, Royal. That's
true.
That is the goal.
What's wrong about that?
I don't know what it is. My name is also Tim, and I don't know what it is. Every person I've ever met with the name Tim, or just anybody that I've met in my personal life with the name Tim, has always been an asshole or a grifter. So I don't know what that says about me, but just saying, like, met a lot of shady Tims.
It doesn't. They didn't say you won't die. They just said the other had other issues. I don't understand. The gist of the article is that COVID-19 is not nearly as deadly as first projected by the WHO and then by Dr. Fauci and Birx. Based on CDC numbers this past week, only 6% of deaths attributed to COVID were instances where the only factor was COVID. The point they're trying to make in their contextual analysis is that if you do not have a comorbidity, you are you're much less likely to die as a victim of COVID. I think that's a fair analysis. You can argue it, but I don't see why that should be taken down.
Street Amy asks, why is it so important for the grift to focus on messaging lies to people? Focus on lies. I can't read. Grift to focus on messaging lies to people. Do they really want to kill people? No, because here's my analysis of why Tim Pool is as big as he is. Because a lot of people, especially on the right, they don't want to be informed by their news. They want to be validated. And Tim Pool does nothing better than telling conservatives what they want to hear. the polls, Biden's up 12 in the polls, instead of doing an actual analysis. Here's a lady in Ohio, and this is why Trump is gonna win. He is masterful at that. So his whole grift is just telling people what they want to hear. Every scientist in the world basically says masks work. Well, here's a lady that wrote an article for a thing one time, and she says they might not. And let me tell you why. That is his grift, and that's why his messaging around something like this, it's like, oh, the social media, because their other big thing is they're censoring conservatives. And it's like, oh, well, why are they censoring conservatives when they're saying the same thing as CNN? It's like, no, they're fucking not. They're not saying the same thing. They're trying to say, it literally originated from a Q follower. They're trying to say that COVID's not a big deal because it only killed 6% of people. That is not what the CDC is saying.
From the CDC website, they say
I couldn't really
6%
read
of
your
deaths,
question,
COVID
but
was
I
the
answered. I
only
think I
cause
answered
mentioned.
it. I don't know.
All right. Mel Q, here's the actual tweet. She said, this week the CDC quietly updated. Now listen, whether they quietly did it or not is just an opinion. She said the others,
a stupid one,
had 2 to 3 other illnesses, and the overwhelming majority were of very advanced.
Listen, whether Tim has sex with dogs is just an opinion, okay? You can't get mad at you for it.
Age. They say, we used
Mel
Q's
Q's
tweet in our
every time.
report,
It's
and the
kinda
president retweeted Mel Q's tweet. But today, Twitter took down the tweet. They notified Mel that the tweet that used actual CDC data violated their policy on misleading information about COVID. Her account was suspended for posting from 12 hours. So you know what I did? I tweeted basically the same thing, but linked to the CNN article. And my tweet remains up. I think this is very obviously an attack on particular individuals. Probably a bunch of leftists flagged the tweet. Twitter gave in because they don't know or care about context or the truth. But the funny thing is, even though CNN claims it's fake, it's a fake.
Doesn't care about context or the truth, says the guy that's making an entire 10-minute video off of a tweet that a Q supporter tweeted.
Fake tweet. They literally confirm the same thing, just
They
with a
literally
slightly
did.
different contextual analysis. They go on to say there is no secret about the fact that pre-existing conditions can cause people to experience more severe problems with COVID. The CDC has long said that older adults and people with underlying health conditions are more likely. It's not a secret. We've known this. Why are they taking it down? The CDC told CNN in July that COVID will end up as a top 10 cause of death for 2020. The final ranking. So look, here's the nitpicking they're doing.
By the way, Washington Post today, we have 285,000 more deaths as of today for the year than we did last year. So even though we've been stuck in our houses, less traffic, less travel, less school shootings, all that, 285,000 more people have died as of today than at this time last year. So maybe somebody explain to me, if COVID's not so bad, why all those extra people died.
CNN is saying they did die from COVID, but they had underlying conditions. Whereas the other group is saying, yes, they did die from other conditions and they had COVID. What do you want me to say? Both are true, I guess. The argument from CNN is
No.
you could be obese and live and then get COVID and die. But
Correct.
that argument means that every obese person gets COVID and dies. That's not what's happening.
No, it fucking doesn't. That's not what that means at all. That means you're more likely.
Many people who are obese and get COVID do die, but does every single obese person who gets COVID die? No. In that case,
I don't even
think
understand
CNN's
this
analysis
argument.
is incorrect. Yes, it plays a role, but I think it's fair to point out if you are a healthy, healthy average individual with no comorbidities, you're probably going to.
Let it be known, guys, if you're healthy as a horse and athletic, that you are less likely to die from a disease than if you were fat and had hypertension and heart problems. Giant revelation. We're breaking news here. All right, I think y'all get that. Now, that's one I just thought was funny because Tim is all about the left has gone so crazy everybody's leaving the left, and I don't see how Trump could lose because the left has gone crazy and Joe Biden's a far leftist somehow, even though he's actually vetting Republicans for his cabinet as we speak, or at least he was today. Maybe not right at this moment, but so Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols endorsed Trump, and this segment's just funny.
Seen wearing a make.
Sitting down shouldn't bum you out.
I really got to
Seat
get
cushions are made with
YouTube
purple
Prime,
grid for
and
the
so it's
comfiest
$12
seat
fucking
anywhere
dollars.
you
I
sit.
need to just bite the
You can
bullet.
sit comfortably.
Make America Great Again shirt, and Twitter erupted with leftists freaking out saying, how could this have happened? A punk rock icon being for Trump? How could someone from an Irish working class background actually support Trump? It's not Johnny who changed, it's you. Take it from someone who worked at Vice magazine at a time when they were anything but politically correct. And now look where Vice is, absolutely politically correct.
What does that even mean? Like they don't hate gay people? They call people that are trans by the pronouns they want? What is this overly politically correct thing that Vice is doing? I've never known Vice as this uber politically correct thing. And that's what he means when he's like, "Oh, they're just so politically correct now." He means like trans pronouns. That's his big beef with politically correct. They say Black Lives Matter and they use they them pronouns when asked to or whatever. And by the way, one punk rock guy endorsing Trump doesn't mean anything except one punk rock guy endorsed Trump.
And I talked to some of my former Vice colleagues about the change, and they said, you guys changed and became
Yeah, I actually had
right-wing. And I
YouTube
said,
Prime, Angie, but
I'm still
I
a fan of George
canceled
Carlin
it,
and Jon
then
Stewart, and
I need
hold
to do
all
it
of the
again.
same, for the most part, political positions. I am a gun owner now. That I
What did he say?
They were anything but politically correct. And now look where Vice is, absolutely politically correct. And I talked to some of my former Vice colleagues about the change, and they said, you guys changed and became right-wing. And I said, I'm still a fan of George Carlin and Jon Stewart, and hold all of the same, for the most part, political position.
What? You like a comedian, so therefore you're on the left? Is that how that works? Like, so if I like a comedian that happens to be personally conservative, I'm on the right? I mean, what a weird way to frame it.
I am a gun owner now, that I did back then. And then they said, you're right. Maybe it is us.
I really hate the whole, oh, the left wants to take your guns away. Like, I'm sure there's a small sect of people that want to just ban all guns, but I think I speak for pretty much the majority of people on the left that just want some sensible gun control. Universal background checks is like a 90-10 issue. 90% of the country wants universal background checks, yet we don't have it. Or, we can have a discussion about, semi-automatics and stuff like that. Because obviously there's a line. You can't have a tank per se. We can have a discussion around that. But it's like small, sensible things. Nobody wants to just take all guns.
That changed. Maybe it's you all on the left who just drove off a cliff, and now you're surprised to find that the guy who was constantly antagonizing the establishment is still antagonizing the establishment. But there is...
Donald Trump is the incumbent president of the United States, running for re-election. He is the establishment, 100%. Trump is like to anybody that supports Trump, he's like a Rorschach test. Like, you just interpret him as you want. To some people, he's pro-war. To others, he's anti-war. He's pro-healthcare. He's, anti-healthcare. He just, whatever they want him to be, that's how they imagine him. It's so weird. But he's anti-establishment, or he's definitely the establishment, though.
Something else here. perhaps a sign that regular people are not on board with this far left lunacy and this weird cult of intersectionality? Could it be perhaps that Trump is actually winning? The polls are broken again? Maybe. And that's really what I want to get into.
One British guy from a punk rock band that was popular in the 80s said that he likes Trump. So are all the polls wrong? Let me tell you why. See, it's that, oh, let's listen to Tim for the 45th segment in a row tell us why Donald Trump will win. That's why this guy get 700,000 views this video has. Holy fuck.
You know why? Because I saw a video from Bridget Fedesi. You may know Bridget. She's a columnist, a podcaster, and she's politically homeless, right? I guess she used to be a liberal, kind of like me, but now she doesn't know what she's going to do.
Nothing more the right loves than a disaffected liberal or a supposed disaffected
for minutes past an intersection in Los Angeles. Los Angeles had a Trump parade. There have been a bunch of Trump parades throughout the country recently and boat parades, and maybe that.
How many people live in Los Angeles? Population in Los Angeles.
In 2018, the population of Los Angeles, California was 3,990,000.
4 million people live there. You don't think they can have enough for a Trump parade? Like, what does that even mean? Oh, the 5,000 people, 10,000 people showed up for a Trump parade? Trump's turning California red. They had a Trump parade.
That sentiment that we're seeing says more than what a poll could ever say. I mean, come on. LA is as blue can get. Where are the Trump supporters?
Amy, are you saying Johnny Rotten's is he a 9/11 conspirator? I didn't know that. I don't really know much about him.
Coming from now, okay.
Even though I'm big, I'm into punk rock very
just
much.
Just a few and far between.
It's a little before my
time.
time.
Of the state that actually are conservative marching around. Or maybe there are people like Johnny Rotten, regular people who don't like the establishment and never did, saying straight up, Trump is the counterculture, not you. Have you ever stopped to think about this? These punk rock leftists who claim to still be punk, having all of their opinions align perfectly with every major corporation. What is punk rock?
That's another thing Tim does. He takes the fake advertisement wokeness of Amazon and tries to say, oh, well, Amazon says black people matter, and so does the left. You know, they both say black people matter, so therefore they are in line with the establishment. It's like, no, these people actually care about black lives, and Amazon is doing it as a corporate marketing technique because they see which way the direction of popularity is growing. If 70% of the country was like, fuck Black Lives Matter, Amazon would be like, fuck Black Lives Matter. But seeing as it's gaining in popularity, you know, they're going to go with the same thing. They sponsored, some gay rights events. It's because it's better for their brand. Companies are going to do whatever they can, especially publicly traded companies. They hire teams and teams of people to do what is ever going to make them the most money. And that's what's going to make them the most money. They don't give a good goddamn about any of those people. I mean, the working conditions in some of their factories are just brutal. Absolutely brutal. So trying to equate like, people on the left think the same as Amazon is like the dumbest shit you can. I mean, it's just very dumb. Very dumb.
Rock about that. Now listen, I'm 34. I'm not going to pretend to know what the ancient lore of punk rock legend says. I grew up with a bunch of far left friends playing punk rock music, and I'll tell you.
How much does Tim make annually? I'd say, fuck. I bet you he cracks a couple mil from his YouTube stuff. Couple mil a year. He gets 110 million views a month over his 3 channels. I mean, that's not counting anything else he does. And plus he has a Patreon, a Subscribe Star, merch. So I don't know who the fuck would buy Tim Pool. What does Tim Pool merch even say on it? Like, I hate women or something?
Tell you what it meant to me. Maybe it didn't mean the same thing to you, and maybe this isn't what it actually meant, but it was young people who are spitting in the face of social norms and the establishment, the major corporations, the stodgy moral authoritarians. And the reason we wore the clothes we did was because we purposefully did not want to fit in. We wanted to throw it in your face and say, we don't wear the clothes you do. We don't dress like you do. Hence, why you'll never see me wearing a suit. Hence, I went to the White House wearing this, a beanie and a t-shirt. I was the only person. And all these conservatives were laughing. Tim Pool didn't wear a suit to the White House. That
Tim Pool has a 14-year-old's understanding of what punk rock is. Oh, I wore a baggy shirt, so I'm punk rock. No, punk rock is about fighting back against the establishment, yes, but it's about actually doing it. It's about actually, pushing back against authority, which is kind of odd coming from conservatives who anytime a cop fucks up are the first ones to be like, oh no, it wasn't his fault. That black man stepped towards him. Like, I don't want to hear Tim Pool, who anytime a black guy dies at the hands of the cop, he like foams at the mouth with joy. Like, oh, he was no angel. They do that, the Candace Owens horse shit. There's nothing less punk rock than conservative propaganda.
That's Tim. You bet I didn't wear a suit. I grew up punk rock. I care not for your social constructs for the most part. I think I believe in.
Yeah, Tim just licks the boots of the establishment fucking Republicans on the daily basis, but
individual freedom. It's why I've always been rather left-leaning, and it's why I absolutely
punk rock is
do not
also very
care
much
that Johnny
fascist
Rotten is a
too.
Trump supporter, and why it's probably no surprise to most of you that I'm actually going to vote for Trump. You know why?
Nothing better than a
Middle
good
Eastern
fash
peace deals,
bash.
withdrawing our troops. End of story. Rand Paul tweeted about it. But let's talk about what's really going.
Fun fact: the first year Trump was in office, drone strikes went up I think it was 432%. It's something right in there. But yeah, Trump increased drone strikes 432% over Obama, who was fucking bomb happy himself. He almost got us in a war with Iran. He did a horseshit Middle East peace deal that didn't involve Palestine, which not much of a Middle East peace deal if you don't figure out the biggest problem
going on, because we got all this data that says Trump is going to lose. 538 says every day Trump's chances of winning go down, down, down. Take that for what it is. I don't know if it's real. I don't know if it's not, but I'll tell you right now, the data says Trump is going to lose and the Democrats are going to sweep. That could be reality. Don't kid yourself into thinking you've got this in the bag. Now, I know the polls were all messed up last time, but I'm telling you this.
That's what Tim will do. He'll go on for 20 minutes about how everything is wrong and Trump's actually going to win, but then he'll real quick be like, oh yeah, but he could lose too, and then and he'll revert right back to whatever the dumb shit he was saying.
Right now, you better be prepared to crawl over that broken glass, figuratively, to go and vote for Donald Trump if you want him to win. But there is an interesting article from Town Hall explaining why Donald Trump is actually on track to win and why Biden's actually losing. And I bring this up because I saw Johnny Rotten saying, yep, voting for Trump. And there was a Trump parade in Los Angeles. Isn't that crazy? Isn't something going on? Something's
A
happening.
city of 4
Let's
million
read the
people had a
story before
parade
we
for
get
the
started.
president.
Head
Isn't
over
that
to
crazy?
timcast.com/donate if you'd like to support my work. There are many ways you can give. There's a P.O. box. But the best thing you can do is share this video. Maybe there are a lot of people are afraid to speak their opinions. In fact, only the far left feels comfortable sharing their opinions. Maybe these people.
Yeah, because that's one thing we know about Trump supporters is they're so quiet. They don't tell you ever who they're supporting. The silent majority is not very fucking silent, at least in far as I know.
People need to realize that whether you like or don't like Trump, we exist. The conversation is real. I insult Trump periodically on my podcast and on Twitter, and Trump supporters just say, I humbly disagree, or they call me names. And I don't care. We're all adults. Trump supporters don't try to destroy my life over me saying, here's what I don't like about Trump. And that's all I'm asking for. So maybe
Who is trying to destroy Tim Pool's life? Isn't he? I don't think. Some people make fun of you on Twitter because you're a media figure, a propaganda pushing media figure at that. I don't think anyone's trying to destroy your life. And yeah, because that's what happens with Trump supporters. I get minimum 10 comments, 10 DMs a day from QAnon Trump supporters on TikTok telling me that I'm a pedophile lover and I work for the deep state and that I'm on the Epstein flight logs and they're gonna kill me or something. But yeah, no, they just say, "Oh, I humbly disagree with you on that cabal." You know, better luck next time. That, like, what a horseshit thing to say.
You think there are people that are scared to speak up? Sharing this video might help them realize that iconic punk rock legends are speaking up and people in Los Angeles are speaking up. Here's the story. Oh, and don't forget, like, subscribe, notification bell. You get it. From the
Don't
Daily
do
Wire,
any of that.
iconic Sex Pistols singer Johnny Rotten. Of course, I'm voting for Trump. Johnny Rotten famously sang "God Save the Queen" back in the heyday of punk in the late 1970s, but in 2020 he's singing "God Save the Planet." And
Also,
even with
if
the crazy
while you guys are
times
here,
of
if you
this
could
year,
like the stream,
even the
I'd
singer of
be
Pretty
very
Vacant is
appreciative.
weighing in on the
Just one
presidential election.
real quick shill
Rotten,
right there.
whose real name is John Lydon, holds 3 citizenships: U.S., British, and Irish. And he told the BBC he's definitely voting for President Trump in the November 3rd election. "Yes, of course I'm voting for Trump," he said in an interview. "He's an individual thinker. I'll give him that for a start. He's not the most lovable fellow on God's earth, but I cannot see the opposition as all."
By individual thinker, then you just mean guy who can't work with anyone ever. Trump might be the worst deal maker we've ever had in office. So I guess I mean I guess he thinks individually about dumb shit.
offering me anything by way of a solution. Apparently, Johnny Rotten backed Barack Obama in his last 2 elections and Hillary Clinton in 2016. But he said he supports Trump because of the economy. "I'd be daft as a brush not to," he said. "He's the only sensible choice now that Biden is up. He's incapable of being the man at the helm." Yup.
What? Like, well, I guess if you're super rich, like I'm assuming Johnny Rotten is, I could see, okay, maybe you want to vote for Trump because you think Biden's going to raise your taxes possibly. But this whole Trump created this great economy because the unemployment rate went from 4.6 to 3.7 or whatever. It went down a point and we lowered rich people's taxes. Trump had the White House, the Senate, and the House for 2 entire years, and they passed tax cuts. That's it. He was supposed to get rid of the carry interest loophole. Didn't do that. I mean, the only people that can, like, clap it up about Trump is hedge fund guys. And guess what? All the people on Wall Street are actually, a lot of them are backing Biden. Like Goldman Sachs, things like that. Because a lot of the stuff that Trump did, like tariffs, trade war stuff, actually hurt a lot of them guys too. But ever since the, coronavirus, they've basically just been throwing money at the market left and right. And that's the only reason it's where it's at. And even with all that, a lot of Wall Street guys are still going with Biden. Which, I could give a shit less about. But to his point, I mean, it's not, he didn't create like this massively great economy. He took over a decent economy, cut taxes on the rich, and made them a fuck ton of money. That's pretty much it.
And that's it for me, too. I didn't support Hillary Clinton, but you know why this is significant? First of all, this is a punk rock legend, straight up saying voting for Trump, and that's kind of crazy. A lot of conservatives have been saying, conservatism is the new counterculture.
All right, I'm getting kind of bored with this segment. Should we move on or keep going on this one? 0 for move on, 1 for keep going, or 0 for move on, 1 to keep going on the segment.
Sure. And they've been mocked by the left, but you lost Johnny Rotten leftists. I don't know what that means. But it shows us somebody who didn't support Donald Trump in 2016. Let me tell you, it may be meaningless, But I did not vote for Trump in 2016.
There you go,
And from
0,
2016
0.
to 2018, I was laughing because I would never vote for the guy. And you will never. And here we are. Because things changed. The economy did better and better. The media went insane. The Democrats failed us in 2018. The kitchen table issues were thrown off the kitchen table.
All right, looks like we're moving on. All right, yeah, but basically he goes on to say, you know, Trump is going to win because, you know, Johnny fucking Rotten did a thing. All right. CDC one. Oh, yeah, this is a shorter one. So Tim is very, very much into get woke, go broke, which is a horseshit narrative that, oh, if a company goes woke, they automatically, you know, lose money, and the conservative silent majority is not going to stand for it. So let's watch a little bit of this segment, and then we'll inquire, maybe fact check him a bit.
And gentlemen, dare I say we may have reached the get woke, go broke crescendo. $790 million loss in sales.
This is from, I don't know if you can probably see there, but this is from basically the end of June, you know, so think, you know, massive coronavirus, all that.
For Nike. And they're going to be laying people off. Now, to be fair, this is not the crescendo for which I speak. This is partly due to COVID, but we are seeing Nike lose a ton of money, not just because of COVID, which I wonder, does this have something to do with Colin Kaepernick, the riots and vandalism and everything that he hath wrought? Now, let's get to...
Exactly. Our, Andrew says, our anti-establishment 100% pro-police president. Yeah, exactly. And every single conservative, I can't think of like an actual big-time conservative commentator like a Steven Crowder, a Charlie Kirk, a Candace Owens, a Tim Pool, that anytime the police murder somebody, they're not just like, oh, no, he had it coming. He had a warrant from 2001. He shoplifted when he was 9. He was a fucking criminal. They're such bootlickers, man. It's crazy.
Dude, I don't know for sure. We'll read the story, but let's get to the actual get woke, go broke crescendo, which includes Nike. It includes Starbucks, Coca-Cola, and Unilever, among many other companies.
Remember, guys, get woke, go broke.
What do I mean by get woke, go broke?
What do you mean, Tim?
This insane wokeness has become so toxic and polarizing, there's no effective way to advertise anymore.
Oh,
and
really?
all of these companies are losing money, so they have just snapped. And now they're not going to be advertising anymore. So it's not necessarily the same thing as what we typically call a get woke, go broke, because Nike is losing money partly due to COVID. They say it's not entirely, though. But the fact that many of these companies, like YouTube, Twitter, or any of these companies, are now seeing their businesses threatened due to the rapid polarization due to, for the most part, the wokeness. Well, there you go. This is like macro level get woke, go broke, right? These social media companies that entertain the ever-increasing psychosis of the insane far left. And the media and these big corporate brands that pandered to them through advertisements. And now it's come to the point where, look, if Unilever, Starbucks, or Coke runs an advertisement, everybody going to get mad. So some people are...
Has any one of you ever gotten mad at any one of those companies' ads? Like, been like, you know what? I got to tweet about this. Fucking Coca-Cola and their ads about equality. I'm pissed off. Has that ever happened?
Trying to pass this off like these companies are boycotting Facebook specifically because it's a stop the hate campaign. And they'll try and play it that way. But the reality is these companies have straight up said it's just too toxic. And there you have it. Well, let's see what's going on with Nike, because this one isn't necessarily an overt get woke, go broke. But I got to tell you, man, that Colin
I thought it was
Kaepernick
the
campaign,
macro.
You know, you just do it, you know, sacrifice everything or whatever. I think they really hurt them. And I think now they're seeing a major loss partly because of COVID.
Okay, so what do we have here? We have, because of the Colin Kaepernick ads, Nike is now facing a backlash, and that is why they lost $790 million in quarter two? Yeah, quarter two. Fiscal fourth quarter. which would be basically the first of the year. That's the way fiscal, but so yeah, Nike lost that because of Colin Kaepernick's ads, which wait, wasn't that a while ago? Yes, it was back in 2018. And oh, let's see what happened here. Okay. Nike's success of Colin Kaepernick ads. Nike sales booming after Colin Kaepernick ad, invalidating critics. Okay. Let's see, when... Oh, okay. Nike stock ended up the day 7.2% higher at 72.37 cents. Now, 77 point... I trade stocks, that's kind like one of basically my main source of income now. A stock jumping 7.2% in a day is pretty friggin' awesome. It barely ever happens. If a stock jumps 15% in an entire year, that's considered good. That's a good year for a stock. 20% is like, ungodly. And by the way, this happened back in December 2018 is when the Nike Colin Kaepernick ads came out. And not only did they fucking kill it when the Nike ads came out, their sales just ballooned, but Nike stock chart. Let's go 1 year. Okay. So here's, I wonder what happened in this area that made the stock price fall through the floor. What could have possibly happened, guys? Maybe like a virus or some kind of a beer, Corona. Yeah. So this is the loss he's talking about. Okay, Nike is a company that's their market cap is $200 billion. So they had a small loss, but here's the stock since then. Here's what it's done since. Let's see, he made that June 24th. That's pretty close. It was at $100. It's now all the way up to 128. This is the first thing that pulls up. And here, look at the 5-year chart. Right in here is when they did the Colin Kaepernick ad. So they started the year at $64 and ended it at 83. They topped out right around where the Colin Kaepernick ad after they got their first numbers back. So not only was it not a get woke, go broke, but it was a highly successful campaign. But somehow he turns that into a year and a half later, calling it, what did he call it? The get woke, go broke crescendo? Like it's just a complete lie. And this isn't such a harmful story so much. I mean, but it kind of it feeds into that whole narrative. Oh, the left is canceling everything. Look at what they're doing to Nike. They're losing all this money. Because of, and they can't even put out ads, and because of that, conservatives are backing off. When they've doubled their stock price in 2 years, they're killing it on everything. But like every company in the world, they had a couple bad quarters because of coronavirus, and he turns that into a get woke, go broke segment.
But not entirely. USA Today reports China, one of Nike's biggest markets, is growing again following a rare decline last quarter. That rebound wasn't enough to save the footwear and apparel giant from reporting a sharp COVID-19 related global sales drop in the fiscal fourth quarter. Yeah. They say sales in the U.S. market were down 46%. Europe was lower by 44%, and China notched a slight 1% uptick. The overall decline pressured growth.
Yeah, China was up because they had already dealt with coronavirus. So they actually had rising sales in the one place in the world that didn't have a serious coronavirus issue at the time.
Profits margin. As a result, Nike posted a $790 million loss. Now, it's important to point out, while USA Today doesn't want to give you the full details, according to Business Insider, Nike straight up said it's not because of COVID. It's only part.
That's not what they said. They said it's not. They said they laid off 400 employees, and they said they're not doing that because of COVID. They're doing it because of restructuring. You get the idea. Basically, it's just a flat out lie because Tim wants to push. All right, let's do a wild card. Let's see what this one is.
If you're searching for a ceiling microphone, look no further. This is STEM Ceiling.
But just the way he goes about just inventing that story, like it could not be more of a lie that because of the Colin Kaepernick ads, Nike is going broke. It was probably the most successful ad campaign they've ever had.
If you were to go on hard data, it looks like Donald Trump is losing, and that's probably the strongest case. The data says, the polling says Trump is on track to lose, and 538 says Trump has a 12% chance of winning. And they go on to say that it should.
And you don't even have to look at 538. This is real clear politics. They do all the polls. They do an average of all the different polls. And let's go presidential. National average. Even Rasmussen, which is a pretty, historically right-leaning poll, even has Biden up 5 points. This doesn't mean that Trump can't win. It just means that mathematically, like, he has a small, narrow window. So trying to say, oh, well, the polls said this or that, it's like, it's just an average of what might happen. I mean, but every single poll, up 3, up 9, up 8, up 10, up 7, up 10, up 12, up 11, 11, 5, and that's pretty big. There was one number, see if I can find it. People that thought the country was going in a bad direction was like 60% or something. Yeah. Country direction of the country. Do you think it's on the right track? 31%. All Trump sycophants. Wrong track. 62%. 62% of the country think the country's on the wrong track, and that is why if Trump loses, that he will lose.
Be zero, but there could be some changes that happen this month. Now, if you go based on news stories, the things we've witnessed with Antifa, the violence, and anecdotes and individual stories, it sounds like Trump is going to win. Now, I don't think the latter.
If you look at all the data, it looks like Trump is going to lose. But if you go off Antifa and anecdotes, Trump is going to win. Oh, man. See, a top comment. 1.4K likes. Vote like America is in trouble because it is. Vote because it is. Why would you say it like that? Why wouldn't you just say because it is? Okay. Yeah, America's in trouble. Vote for Joe Biden.
Is a strong
even
case
though
for why Trump is going to win. So I'm going to sprinkle in a little bit of data as well. Gallup shows that party affiliation right now is actually Republican +1, whereas in 2016.
Notice the title. Democrats may lose the election as new poll shows Democrats are quitting. Biden warns polls are wrong, as if Biden's going to be like, guys, don't worry about it. Polls are good. Who even needs to vote? But it's not a poll. There's no poll that says that. It's literally like a chart of like party affiliation, I think.
It was Democrat +5. When party affiliation favored Democrats, they still lost. Well, there's some data to suggest that Donald Trump might actually win, but I want to be rational about this. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, and it may be bias and wishful thinking on my part to suggest
that's the fucking
Trump
truest thing he said.
I mean, like I said, the data shows he's losing. But I think Nate Silver is wrong when he says Trump has a 12% chance. I think he's dead wrong. And I think it is insane that anybody would make any kind of statement saying, we know that Joe Biden is on track to win. Now, the race is much.
It's just an average of the polls. 538 basically does the same thing that Real Clear Politics does. Although they have a little bit different model, but it's just a polling average.
Closer than anyone realizes. But before you, I have a story. It was just wrong. Lifelong Democrat quits party over attack on Don Klein. This is out of Omaha. And it's just one more anecdote of someone walking away. You know, I was told by a friend recently that Trump's base has only gotten smaller and there are more Democrats than.
By the way, that whole walk away from the Democratic Party campaign, which was started by that Brandon Straka guy in 2018. In 2018, that year, the midterms, Democrats got more votes than in any other election in the history of the country. So I don't think the walkaway campaign did so hot.
Than ever who are going to vote. That's actually not true. Among party affiliation, Democrats now have a disadvantage, and among independent voters, Democrats have lost 2 points. You see, independent voters are either lean right or lean left. In 2016, I believe it was 49 leaning Democrat, and now it's 47. Republican has really stayed the same. In fact, independent voters have gone up, showing many people are quitting the Democratic Party. They're not becoming Republicans, but they're certainly not Democrats. Now, what does that mean for the vote? 2 things. First,
honestly, I just think people are more politically engaged and knowledgeable about the parties and party politics, and they're just not solely committed to the Democratic Party. Just because you're not a registered Democrat doesn't mean you don't lean left. I'm not a registered Democrat. And I'm definitely on the left.
First, people don't want to be Republicans. I'm not a Republican. I don't like Republicans, but I'm certainly not going to vote for the Democrats.
I just lick their boots.
There are a lot of people I know who used to be card-carrying Democrats. Now they're independent, and they're voting for Trump. They don't like the Republicans either. But it also lends itself to this idea that the pollsters are sampling wrong. They're sampling based on 2016 demographics and 2016 turnout to determine what's going to happen this time around. That's why I think Joe Biden is correct. The Biden campaign said the polls are wrong and they are inflated, and it's actually very close. If I were you, I would.
Yeah, no shit the campaign said that. Of course they said that. I mean, they're not, Trump is going to be like, oh, the polls say I'm winning by 10 points. That's just how he is. He can't help but say that. Any smart campaign is going to, of course, tell their supporters, like, don't listen to the polls, go out and vote. I mean, it's obvious. It wouldn't matter if he was up 40 points. He would still say that.
Would listen to what Biden is saying and ignore the pundits.
But don't trust the
who
polls. Go
screwed
out
it
and
all
vote.
up last time. I want to show you this poll from Gallup, where we can see party affiliation is now favoring Republicans, suggesting a Trump victory. And I want to show you just a little bit of this story, an anecdote about why a lifelong Democrat is quitting. It's because of critical race theory. Now, if Trump loses, I think it'll be because he did not do a good enough.
By critical race theory, he means racial sensitivity training. That's another thing, another first world problem Tim has is that, how dare they teach people about, how to interact with people of other races, which in most cases isn't, I don't think that is that big of a deal in any way, shape, or form, even as like a job. It's not like it's some 2-week course that they make you go do. It's like a very short thing you have to do when you get a job somewhere. It's not critical race theory. It's racial sensitivity training, which is perfectly fine. But fucking Tim Pool's like, oh my God, they're going to make us all trans or something.
Job explaining what's
black
happening
trans
to our
people are going to
culture.
take over the world because of critical
But
race
Trump
theories.
is not the best messenger when trying to speak with regular people. That's a fact. But let's read this story, and then I will show you hard data, as well as what Nate Silver thinks.
Hard.
And I'm going to counter his points.
Data.
Actually, no, I'm not. I am going to actually agree with Nate Silver and show you why he's right, that something's going to change, and Trump is going to win. But hard predictions are not good things to make. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm just going to give you some arguments. Before we get started, head over to timcast.com/donate if you'd like
No,
to support
don't.
my work. There are
Don't.
many ways you can give, but the best thing you Google search, take the full title of any one of my videos on this channel or my Timcast News. They will not appear on Google. Maybe they've changed it, but as far as I know,
that's
I have been
horseshit.
black.
Democrats may lose the election, new poll shows. Tim Pool, Democrats will lose the election, new poll shows. Oh, look, it's the first fucking video that shows up. What do you know about that? And the second, third. Oh, look, he's the entire fucking page on Google. What do you know about that? What a lying fucking schmuck. Like, it's okay. Like, I shill. You know, please share. Please like the stream, by the way. But, if you're gonna be like, oh, they're censoring me, guys. Like, they're really censoring me. I only have 3 million fucking subscribers. You know, Jesus, man.
Blacklisted, and I don't know why. Maybe they don't want information like this getting out.
Yeah,
the only reason people watch videos, like on my channel,
614,000 views,
is because you share this, bypassing that censorship. Perhaps I haven't broken any rules, so they can't ban me, but they can certainly try and throttle
not
my
very
content, and it's not
counterculture of you there,
working.
Tim.
If you really think this information is important, please consider sharing this, and don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. The first thing I want to highlight is a recent story of a Democrat walking away. You may have heard of the Walk Away campaign. Democrats quit.
This is what fucking conservative media does. This is one lady who, I don't know her story, but one lady who's probably misinformed, I'm assuming, if she's voting for Trump, or she just, you know, but she's probably misinformed. But one lady out of a country of 330 million, she's walking away from the Democratic Party. So let me tell you why we're gonna win this thing, because Lady A is doing X. And this is why people love Tim Pool, because he just reaffirms what they just want to hear. They love to hear it. Oh, Trump's gonna win. He's gonna landslide victory.
Quitting the party, leaving the Democratic Party. Many of these people now voting for Trump. Some call themselves liberals for Trump. They're not conservative. We've heard of this. Have we heard of a great movement? Reddit? No.
Yes.
And even Democrats
I mean, no,
agree
but
that
yeah.
Trump did not lose his base. When you ask a regular person, say everybody who voted for Trump is still going to vote
He didn't
for him.
lose the base,
But
that's
now
for
a bunch
sure.
of new people are going to vote for Biden. Maybe. The Democrats are losing voters, and that could change things. Check this out. It was just wrong. Lifelong Democrat quits party over attack on Don Klein.
We are 5 minutes into the video, and I don't think has he actually said anything of any substance? It just, the polls are wrong, the polls are wrong, the polls are wrong. Nate Silver, polls are wrong.
Omaha, Nebraska. A well-known Omaha Democrat is quitting the party over an attack on the county attorney. Campaigning has been her life's work, but she says she can't stand it anymore. Quote, I'm Irish, I'm Catholic, I'm a Democrat, Mary Barrett said, until now. Barrett's been a Democrat her whole life. She said the Nebraska Democratic Party's recent resolution didn't sit right. It accuses Douglas County Attorney Don Klein of perpetuating white supremacy in his handling of the James Scurlock case. Quote, I kept getting more desperately unhappy about it, and I just didn't think it was a place the Nebraska Democratic Party needed to attack an individual, especially one who's not running for office, Barrett said. Barrett campaigned alongside the NDP for decades. She fundraised for candidates and traveled to national conventions. Her father, longtime Politico Frank Barrett, got her into politics.
All right. I won't subject you guys to any more of that. Let's have you guys seen the video? We'll do one more real quick. Or was it South? It was South Dakota. Come up. The South Dakota councilman. How do you spell? It's on. Yeah, here it is. They had a big breakout of COVID in South Dakota. But then they had like a like a city council meeting about a mask mandate.
Right through that mask.
This is what this dipshit had to say.
Here is the city councilman, and this is why he's not going to. This is, I mean,
this guy's in charge of shit. Unfortunately,
just we are 7 months into this now. This is.
By
just
the way, if you don't watch
amazing.
Sam, you definitely should. He's
not fear,
great.
And the facts are, I'm just as protected as you are wearing that mask of COVID-19. COVID-19 passes right through that mask. Isn't that correct?
What the fuck? Like, really? Like, they had that Sturgis rally, you know, the bike thing. They had a giant outbreak of COVID, and now they're talking about mask mandates, and you got this fucking guy making decisions, just basically, you know, parroting propaganda.
Correct?
No, it isn't.
No. It is absolutely
Okay, no public comment.
So, Mr. Chair,
Commissioner will learn not to ask rhetorical questions to the crowd.
I apologize, but basically, a virus it goes right through the mask, and so for us to start mandating something that doesn't work, that doesn't make sense. And as far as the people, okay.
I feel so bad for South Dakota being a Minnesotan, and we, you know, our government's not the greatest, but over there, they're like fucking, you know, hardcore conservative, just fucking crazy town. Got people like this in charge.
Okay, here's how it goes. Once again, if you behave yourselves, you can stay in
And
the room.
he gets salty
You're
because he's
welcome
getting
to,
called
but if you
out
don't,
by the
you're gonna
crowd.
be asked to leave. And if you don't leave, then the police will escort you out. Is that clear?
Let's just restore order.
All right.
Let's go ahead. Make your comments, please.
The masks are not effective with the virus, period. That's proven. The coronavirus.
By the way, if 80% of Americans wore masks, COVID-19 infection would plummet, new study says. So that's where we're at on that.
Passes through. And so it's false to tell people that they're going to be safe by wearing that. And as far as sitting 6 feet apart, it's liberty. If you don't want to sit next to each other, then you don't
Fucking
have
liberty,
to. You
guys.
can go someplace else or watch it on TV or on the internet. So thank you very much.
Commissioner Gary.
Yeah, no one's going to
Quiet in the
convince
room, please.
anyone of anything at this point. You know, there's some people who believe it's certain
On the- yeah, this
facts and
guy,
numbers,
yeah.
and the other side can bring up facts and numbers too. So I'm not even going to try to attempt.
And he just like brushes it off like, oh, one side has facts, the other side has facts. You know, who really knows at this point if masks work? I think if we've figured out one thing through this entire pandemic, it's that masks work. I mean, I think that's a pretty easy one. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's all I got. All I wanted to go through. Oh, here's some this is Tim Pool got a new co-host for his podcast, and even he realized, like, hey man, I think you're saying some crazy shit here.
It's a weird. It's like a weird and wild conversation. It almost doesn't have place talking about
Dude.
side by side politics. But when you're making videos and millions of people are hearing you say things are going to happen, I think that you're influencing it.
How?
Yeah, Tim loves to talk about the coming Civil War. He hasn't done one in a while, so that's why I didn't show a video of it, but that's literally his favorite thing is, you know, Civil War is coming. Grab your musket.
If you're like, say some really horrible thing, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I believe you, I might go get involved.
So you're saying that the people who watch me, who don't like, who like, there's Antifa people watching me going like, that is a good idea. Tim's right. We should go to people's homes, even though they already did.
Or if you're like, Antifa's horrible, someone might be like, I got to get a gun and go fight Antifa. They're horrible.
That's just normal
Yeah.
communications. Anyone can do that.
What?
What do you mean?
Yeah, because everybody just has a platform of fucking millions of people.
Like, people talk to each other.
It's like a weird and wild conversation.
Like, how dense do you have to be to answer the fucking question like that? But all right, y'all. Yeah, we've been at it for a while. Think I'm gonna call tonight, get back to editing my new video. But yeah, thanks a lot for hanging out. I greatly appreciate it. Like the stream if you could, subscribe if you're not. Hopefully I have a new video out by the end of the week. I'm doing my last part of the Fall of the Cabal series. Gonna be live streaming more here coming up, so yeah, I think that's everything. Thanks a lot for coming, especially y'all that come to every stream. Like, I've seen like 5 or 6 of y'all in every stream. I really, really appreciate it, because, you know, you guys are like the regulars. But yeah, thanks a lot, y'all, and probably see you in a couple days. We'll talk about some more chaotic shit. Peace.